So, uh, next month, the month of July, we have the new Ghostbusters movie coming out.
Yay.
And, careful, careful. Um, there's quite a bit of buzz surrounding the movie. Um, and not, and most of it is not positive. Um, let's, so while we're actually discussing it, by the way, Matt, how big of a Ghostbusters fan in general are you?
Um, Not an extreme diehard fan, but I definitely loved the first movie. Second movie was, it was okay, but I I'm I definitely loved the first one.
And see, I actually grew up watching the real Ghostbusters cartoon. I watched my exposure um, to Ghostbusters was uh, Slimer actually having a voice. I'm talking something like this, like a Gollum type of voice, and you know, it's been years since I've seen it, but I'm pretty sure that that's pretty much how he sounded like. And it was just a silly Saturday morning cartoon show, um, and that was my experience with it. I didn't actually see the original 1985 Ghostbusters until I was in my 20s. Probably caught it on Netflix or something like that. And I thought it was okay. I don't see why everyone thinks it's a hilariously comedic movie. That part's lost on it, although probably going to get some hate for saying this. Like Bill Murray, I'm not saying he's not funny. His humor is just lost on me. Like it's so dry to the point where it's so dry that to me it's not funny. Not saying he's not a funny guy. Not saying that he's not a top-notch comedian. It's just completely lost on me. Um, but the movie's still enjoyable. The practical effects and it look really good. Even to this day, that's debatable. I still enjoy the practical effects. I think it was cool how they pulled out the transparent effects of the ghosts. Um, so, and then the second movie was pretty much more of the same, just not executed quite as well as the first one. And I don't think you're going to get uh, any disagreement there.
Yeah.
So the third movie, kind of taking you through the history of this, the third movie, it when we got the Ghostbusters game that came out a few years ago, um, that basically was a movie sequel. We had all of the voice actors come into it and reprise their roles, the four main Ghostbusters. Um, and it told a brand new storyline in the vein of those movies. And a lot of people basically said, yeah, this is Ghostbusters 3. But there's always rumors that they were going to make a third Ghostbusters movie. And it kept getting pushed off, and it kept getting pushed off until finally, I think his name is Harold Ramis. He's basically the guy who played the one with the glasses. I can't think of his name at the moment. But he passed away, I want to say a couple of years ago now. And basically any hope of making a third Ghostbusters movie, at least a sequel and not like a direct sequel to it, it pretty much died with him. And it's just very interesting to me that when that happened, that's when the wheels really started turning in motion to get a new Ghostbusters movie made. It's like all of a sudden there was this, push. Let's go ahead and make it. Let's reboot it. And I remember there were two ideas floating around, and one was they were gonna, reboot it and try and make it as close to the original as possible with all male actors. And then the other idea was basically do the same thing but have all female actors. And we've known about this possibility for a long time, that the whole cast was going to be female. Yet the outrage wasn't wasn't there at the time. Um, all that to say, um, James Rolfe, who is the angry video game nerd on YouTube, um, he came out with a video explaining. He had been asked by his fans, like, hey, are you going to go see this new Ghostbusters movie with the all-female cast? Are you going to go see it and then give a review on it on your channel? And he just released a video saying, no, I'm not. And then proceeded to state his very clearly worded reasons why. And, you know, they were definitely respectable reasons. He didn't want to see it because he doesn't want it to ruin his view of the original film that he's such a big fan of. He doesn't think it looks that great, which, by the way, the first trailer of this Ghostbusters film is the most unliked or disliked movie trailer in the history of YouTube.
That's crazy.
It has, I think, roughly twice as many unlikes as it has likes, and that is insane. So, you know, he came out and said it's like, yeah, I'm not going to go see the movie. He even said it might be a funny movie, but he just has no interest in it. And since he released that video, he's gotten all kinds of comments just basically saying, oh, you're a misogynist. You don't want to see this movie because it has all women as a cast. He's getting a lot of that heat. There's even been something going on with Patton Oswalt because his wife was involved in the movie. She passed away in her sleep. I didn't even know that until a few days ago. And apparently he had attacked James on Twitter because of his video, and I can't think of what the tweets were, but you know, he kind of pulled it back and said that he attacked the wrong target. But here's where we stand now. We have this movie where it seems like if you criticize it at all based on the two trailers that have come out, you're going to be called two words: sexist and misogynistic. So, Matt, I'm going to put you on the boiler first. Which side do you stand on with this issue?
Honestly, I think all the reasons that he said not to go see it are completely valid. Like, honestly, to me, I think that from the humor that we saw in the trailer, it seemed kind of forced. And you know, some of it was, you know, like kind of funny. But I don't know, like there's nothing wrong with the cast, I guess. Like there's nothing wrong with them being all females. I feel like I think it's been too long, honestly, in my opinion, for like a Ghostbusters movie. Like when did the second one come out? It's like
Uh, I I want to. It may have been as many as 4 or 5 years after the original came out. I can find out.
yeah, but uh, it's been at least 20 years, I want to say. Maybe a little bit more, a little bit less.
1989.
Yeah, that's crazy long ago. Um, and I already don't like it when movies try and like bring back. It's like, hey, it was really good back then. It'll be good now. No, it won't.
And we'll just modernize it.
Exactly. Like there's a possibility it can work. Most likely, no, it won't. And you know, if anything, that's probably my reason for why I'm not going to go to it, which is because I feel like it's been too long. I feel like it's passed for a third installment into the Ghostbusters series, and um, Also, I don't see this one being extremely funny, and if it is, I feel like the humor is going to be very like pressed, um, and it has nothing to do with it has nothing to do with the four women main characters at all. And I have such a huge problem with people getting offended of other people saying that they don't want to go see this movie and assuming that it's for a sexist reason. And I don't want to get too far into it, um, mainly because I have very strong feelings towards situations and scenarios like that. Um, I think people are just, they get offended too easily for reasons that they shouldn't even be offended by. Like, I'm sure there's some people who have said, "Oh no, it's because they're like all women." Like, I'm not saying that no one hasn't said that. I'm sure someone somewhere has been like, "It's not the same. They're all women. You know, where's the guys?" And like you can't have that because yeah, like you said, like one of the guys died, so the original cast can't be put into a Ghostbusters movie. But then there's like I don't know if it's been said yet, but I haven't seen a connection between the four new Ghostbusters and the old ones.
No. In fact, Bill Murray is supposed to have a cameo in the movie, but not as the character he played in the original Ghostbusters. So this is a completely new universe of Ghostbusters. There's no people have said, I wouldn't have a problem with this movie if it was like a passing on of the torch, like from one generation of Ghostbusters to the new one. But it's not. They're not handling it like that at all. I think people. One of the big reasons is people are kind of just getting tired of reboots. And let me tackle the sexist and misogynist comments that are going about. We've, like I said before, this has been known for a long time that they were going to be an all-female cast. If the outrage was going to happen, it was going to happen there. Not until this first trailer came out. Then everyone was like, oh my goodness, it's all women? Dislike, dislike, dislike. That's not what happened. I'm sure that, some people think that that's how it happened, but it didn't. And the director came out. Let me pull him up here because I think he has said some of the worst comments as far as defending this movie against, the his name is, I think it's Paul Feig, Feig. But yeah, he basically said that geek culture has some of the worst. I'm not going to say the word. He uses profanity to describe geeks. And it's like, well, what I was saying with Mighty Number 9 earlier. You don't come out and, even though people are saying negative things about your film, you don't come out and insult people that you want to bring into theaters and financially support the movie. If you want to wait till after the movie has come out and had its run, fine. Then come out and say, yeah, I didn't really appreciate that these, people were having negative reactions. But you can't just. No one's complaining. I won't say no one, but like you said, there are misogynists out there. There are sexists out there, on both sides, both male and female. And yeah, I'm sure geek culture has a few, just like they are in every other culture or hobby. They're out there and they exist, and they're going to say stupid stuff sometimes. But this is just overwhelmingly wrong as far as, we think that the geeks out there defending the original Ghostbusters and saying that this movie is going to be nowhere near as funny as that one. You just have to watch the trailers. Before I had my wife actually sit down, I didn't tell her anything about the trailers. I just had her sit down, watch both of them, one after the other. She didn't laugh once, didn't even crack a smile. And then I asked her, I said, do you think the movie looks funny? She's like, no. It's like, maybe one line kind of sounded like it was close to being funny. But, you have these four basically Saturday Night Live actresses, they can be funny. I have seen each and every one of them in funny situations. There's no mistaking that yes, women can be funny and in funny movies and be good comedians. It's just that's not what this is about in the least. It's about people are seeing a movie with, I've recently watched it. The only thing good I have to say about it is they've got the Ecto One, the car, that looks good, looks like the original. And Slimer looks good, even though he's all CG now. He looks pretty much exactly like he did in the original film. And I was a big Slimer fan just because he was a major component of the cartoon. But you can't. You look at this. You look at this trailer. It's not funny. The ghosts don't look terrible. Some people are saying, "Oh, well, this looks as bad as Eddie Murphy's Haunted Mansion movie effects from a decade ago or whenever it was, and that came out." Yeah, I can see that. The ghosts are kind of all one color in the trailers, like they're either all blue or all green, and I think you can be a little bit more creative than that. But some of the shots look actually pretty good in the streets. It's just if this movie is trying to be a funny movie, it's just failing with the trailers. And like James said, the trailers could be absolutely wrong, and it turns out that this is going to be a hilarious movie. But at this point, especially when the director comes out and says negative things about the fans, I'm perfectly okay if this movie flops. And I think that's where most of us are. Like we just don't care anymore because you've insulted us.
Yeah.
So that's all we have to say about that.